How's it going, folks? So maybe you're like me and you like to use all sorts of EDC. Maybe you've got EDC pouches for all sorts of situations, packed with all sorts of EDC goodness, little tins that are all set for the perfect situation. Or maybe you carry mini tools with you wherever you go. Maybe you like to have a Leatherman that you carry around with you just because you like how useful it is to have a tool this powerful with you all the time. Or maybe you're someone who carries a pocket knife with you. I certainly carry a pocket knife with me wherever I go for opening boxes, cutting string, things like that. But what if I told you that my most used and actually my favorite piece of EDC that I have with me 24/7 wherever I go is actually this tiny Victorinox Mini Champ Alox, and why I think this tool is an essential tool for anyone who's serious about carrying EDC tools with them. How's it going, folks? My name's Marcus and welcome back to the channel. On this channel I talk about all things tech, EDC, and anything that can help me live a balanced, happier, more productive life. So before I get started, what I'm not saying is that this is the only little item that you need to have with you at all times. Of course it's about having the right tool for the right situation, and if you do have a pliers on you, it's always going to be better than having just a tiny little mini champ, or if you have an actual screwdriver, it's going to be better than using the screwdriver on this. But what I am saying is that for 90% of the situations that I'm in, which is opening boxes, trying to put batteries back into a toy for one of my kids, cutting my fingernails, this tool is enough to get me there, even if I forget all my other stuff. And the benefit of this one is it's on my keys and it's with me all the time. I keep my keys attached to my back pocket, and even when I'm in bed, when my keys are next to me on the nightstand, I always have this little Victorinox with me, and it's why it's my most used piece of EDC. So let's get stuck into what's really useful about this tool and why I like it so much. So one of the reasons I picked this one is because it's so small. It really is a tiny knife that fits on my keychain. I like to keep my keys absolutely minimal as possible, and I stick that on there on my keychain along with a tag and a couple of keys, and it keeps my keys small and means that I carry them with me all the time and they're not just dangling around and getting in my way and annoying me. So I've taken it off my keys to go through with you today and go through some of the tools that it has. So the first tool on here is a scissors, and I use this for cutting my nails. I mostly cut my nails when I've forgotten to cut them. I'm walking around the street, or I knew I was going to be making this video, so I just clipped them before I started recording, and this scissors is perfect for that. I wouldn't carry a Victorinox that didn't have a scissors, and the scissors that comes with these is particularly great. They're notorious for being small, accurate, and sharp. So if you take care of them, they'll last forever. They're very satisfying to use, and I really like using this for cutting my fingernails. Second tool on this side of it is the Phillips head screwdriver. It's actually a multi-tool this. It's got 3 tools in one. So on the top of it, you've got one of those small Phillips head screwdrivers, which is perfect for getting into, remote controls to get batteries out, or into toys to take batteries out for kids. The second one is it's got a wire stripper on it. I can guarantee you 100% I have never used it for that. If I'm going to be stripping wires, I'll just take one of my wire strippers out of my toolkit. There's very rarely a wire stripping emergency in which I need it. But there's a bottle opener, so I do use the bottle opener a lot, and I do use the Phillips head screwdriver a lot. The third tool on that side is the standard Victorinox drop blade. These drop blades are fantastic. They come out of the box very, very sharp. I have not sharpened this since I got it, and it's a small blade. It's great for opening boxes. One thing to remember is it's not it can snap close on you. It doesn't lock open, so you do have to be careful that you're not jabbing it into something, because it will close on your fingers and you will need to get some stitches. They are really sharp blades, but it's a steel blade. It's perfectly capable of being sharpened. If you take good care of it, will last a very long time. And yeah, anyone who uses a Victorinox just knows the quality of these blades. It's fantastic. The fourth tool that it has on it is something that I don't use for its purpose, but it's a nail file and nail pick. I do sometimes use the nail pick to just, if I have something stuck under one of my nails, one of my kids' nails, I'll shunt it out with this. But I use the nail file mostly for if I find something sharp. Like last week, one of the kids was playing on the back of the truck and there was a little rough piece of metal, and I just filed it down very carefully, very quickly with this, just took one of the edges off to stop the kids getting cut. The next tool is what they call an auxiliary or an additional blade. Actually what this is it's a flat blade. It's kind of cool. So apparently this was originally called a tracheotomy blade, and it was for doing tracheotomies, I think. So it was originally called a tracheotomy blade, and it was on a paramedic's toolkit. It was a bigger blade than this, but the thing about this is that it's basically an X-Acto knife. They call them X-Acto knives in the US here, or a scalpel. It's a very sharp tipped blade, which is great for cutting out pieces of paper, for cutting straight through pieces of card. I use this blade much less frequently than I do the main blade, but if I do want to get something with an extreme point on it, this blade is perfect for that. The next tool after that is something which I thought was a box opener. I just push it in one end and drag it down through. Maybe it's a seatbelt cutter, maybe it's a box opener. I use it as a box opener and it works great for that. It's also great for if you've got a piece of that plastic, you know, the kind of mold fit plastic that doesn't open easily. You can score it with this, you can scrape it through and cut through that plastic, which is super satisfying, and it's, you know, the most infuriating thing when you need to get through that plastic. So having a little tool for that is really helpful. The next tool after that is a flathead screwdriver. It also has a measuring tape on one side. 0 times I've used that. But the little small flathead screwdriver I've used a little bit, not as much as the Phillips head, but it's kind of good as a little tiny pry bar or for screwing closed flathead screws. And then the last tool is, I have no idea what this is. It's like a little tiny, kind of a spoon. It's kind of scooped out. I use it for my camera. When I'm setting up these, I've got a little tripod. There's sometimes big screws that you need to be able to turn. They don't need to be tightened out really tight, but you need a penny or a quarter to do it. This is the perfect size for just sticking in there and loosely tightening those things, and I exclusively use it for that. Now there are different versions of this knife as well, just so you know. This is the Alox version, and it's called Alox because it has this special kind of silver finish on it, this kind of matte finish. As you know, the traditional Victorinox pen knives have a red resin plastic casing on them. So this is more of a traditional looking Victorinox where it's got the red casing. Now the advantage of the red casings is it leaves room for putting these little small tools in them, like in this one there's a tweezers, which is able to fit within that resin casing. You can get a toothpick, which I think is super gross. You should not be using a toothpick on your Victorinox. Or you can get a biro. I think a biro is probably more useful. Here's an example of another Victorinox I have that is kind of one of their tech tools, where they merge some of the capabilities of the Minichamp with having some technology built into it. So this one here it's got the exact same screwdriver bottle opener with it. It's got the exact same blade, the kind of renowned steel blade from Victorinox, very sharp. It's also got the nail file with the flathead screwdriver on it, and the exact same scissors as the one that I've just shown you. But what it has in addition to that is it has a USB. This is a 16 gigabyte USB-C or USB-A, depending on how you want to use it. So I used this when I was in the office a lot and I was moving around from computers to computers. I like to have a little USB with me. Now that we're all working from home more, it's less necessary, and it's not worth the thickness for this pen knife, so I've taken it off my keyring. One of the other advantages of this is if you do have this keyring, as you can see, has got a resin scale. It's not the traditional resin scale, it's a see-through one, so you can see what's inside it, but it does mean you can have a little biro in that, so that just clips down. And it's handy to have a little biro. I've used it probably 2 times when I've not had a pen in my pocket for whatever reason, or my pen is not working. Handy to have a little biro. And the second thing and best thing is that it's got a flashlight with it as well. So I think having a knife that has a flashlight would be ideal. If they could somehow squeeze it into this one, that would be fantastic. But you can get the Minichamp with all of these tools with a flashlight and pen as well, but it does make it all that much thicker. Look at this one is even more thicker because it has the USB, but it makes it about, not quite twice as thick, but it makes it certainly about 1.5 times as thick as having this. And for me, it's not worth it because usually I do have a flashlight with me and a pen with me and things like that. So it's not worth the additional thickness for having this minimal little powerhouse on my keyring. And it's why I choose to use the Victorinox Mini Champ Alox all the time as my most used EDC on me. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope this is useful for you. If you've got a piece of EDC that you use all the time that is not necessarily as glamorous as, you know, maybe the Leatherman Wave, or having a Benchmade 945 Mini with you, a Mini Osborne, what are the things that you use? What recommendations would you make for me? I'm always keen on new things. Comment below. Thanks. Good luck. Bye.